Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, welcome to our presentation. We are from Group 7 and we would like to talk to you about the implementation quality management. First, let me introduce my team. To begin with me, Sinta Karunia, the leader of this group. And my member, they are Nurliandari, Putri Julianti Tampu Bolon, Endang Yulianti, Ruth Maranata Silalahi. And for the first presentation will be explained by Ruth Maranata Silalahi.
Well, today I will presentation about implementing quality management. 1.1 Introduction. Although the preceding chapters take as a whole provide sufficient data on how to implement a quality management approach, the section is designed to provide a summary of principles to be borne in mind. And one approach, the journey which has been successful. The important caveat is that this section does not purport to present a best practice approach, nor even that such an approach exists. What follows is a way, not the way. Well, in this next slide, 1.2 will focus capability. If action to transform is to be taken, is a need for three elements to come together. Smith and Tosay 1999 proposed one such model for organizational learning which applies a quality to quality. For individuals to act, they need the will. This will be bound up with their personal motivation and the culture and politics of the organization. They also need capability. This will mean they need to have the skills, techniques, and experience that allow them to deliver change. But to make it an attractive profession, to act, they must perceive that this is a priority for the organization. Leaders and managers must encourage and create an environment where the desired behaviors are supported by systems and procedures as well as their own action and statements. Many organizations try to begin TQM with a campaign to win hearts and minds and lots of training. However, if there is no immediate organizational focus on action once the training has been conducted, they will lose momentum. If we stir up interest with a campaign and set up appropriate systems, but fail to show people how they can make a difference, then we have the kind of top-down initiative which does not work because most people don't know what action to take. Finally, unless we address changing the culture and motivating individuals, process change and training will not make much difference. They could act, but the likelihood is they will not remember Peters and Wetterman's 2004 system without passion and passion without system.
Prepare the organization for transformation. For most organizations, the transitions to a quality management approach is nothing less than a total transformation of the culture of the business. Changing the norms and behaviors built up and reinforced over years in not a trivial activity. Develop senior management commitment. No quality management initiative ever succeeded without the genuine commitment of the senior team. This needs to be informed and active commitment. The senior team will need to be role models for the new attitudes and behaviors as well as committing resources to the initiative. They must realize how much effort they are personally responsible for putting in. Without active involvement, the program will falter when people notice their leaders behaving incongruently with their words. This part of the process is so important that it's worth whatever time it takes to generate genuine commitment. Without this, the success of the initiative is very unlikely. Define visions, missions, measures, and guiding principles. As with any strategic activity, the directions of the travel is crucial and needs to be articulated as clearly as possible and as early as possible. Develop the vision and mission within the senior team, within a set of guiding principles which make sense for the organization. This should be based on the desired future state and might include the following. External measures of business performance. Ultimately, this is what most organizations are interested in. Appropriate measures here may be market share, customer satisfaction, profit, etc. Internal measures of performance. Things like cost of quality, employee satisfaction, process was, and cost will give an indication of what direct impact has been delivered on business process. Measures of understanding and buy-in. It is important to keep taking the temperature of the organization in respect of the initiative. Activity is important, but so are attitudes. How do people feel about the progress, etc. What is going well and what needs action. Engage the wider organization. Once the strategic direction is agreed and clarified at senior levels, it is time to spin out the ideas to the rest of the organization. What is required is enthusiastic and comprehensive communication. The most important rule of communication is that it is two-way. This is not simply an exercise in telling, it is also an exercise in listening. There are several sub-steps within this step. First, launch the principles, vision, and mission. Be careful not to overplay this. It is easy to switch people off even look like this is the next big thing. This is especially true for organizations suffering from an excess of historical initiatives, sometimes called initiative fatigue. Ensure everyone hears about it at roughly the same time. Then consult and integrate. Seek the views of staff about what is excellent in the organization and what is to be improved. Don't make the mistake of trying to create dissatisfaction with the status quo purely by denigrating the existing system. Many people have many years invested in the current organization. Allow them to guide you in what might need to be changed and what is definitely worth keeping. Take a short time to integrate this result with the original vision and mission. Feedback where changes have been made and assumptions reinforced to show that you are listening. If there is a gross mismatch between the views of the leaders and those of the rest of the organization, address them now openly and with candor. And there is deploy handshake country and the catchable process. To engage staff in the change rather than just involve them in delivering, the leaders must allow them to have a say in how the vision can be delivered. The Honshin Kanri catchable process is the most effective way of doing this. And the last, diagnose the organization and conduct a gap analysis. Using an appropriate tool such as the EFGM assessment model, G-Max 14-point and etc., look at the current performance of the organization. Bear in mind how this compares to the vision. Establish where the vision requires only continuous improvement to achieve and where breakthrough improvement it is performance and required. Deployment of this diagnosis should follow similar patterns to the Honshin Kanri deployment so that department, section, and subsection can see what their core challenges are.
Okay, I will continue the presentation from my friend about take action to achieve transformation. The first develop improvement project. Having established priorities from the activities in the previous section, the next step is to begin to work on the improvement. Well, here are some sub-steps that must be considered in doing so, namely follows. Okay, the first, establish the improvement system. Select a business-wide approach to improvement, perhaps using DMA, IC, or PDSA. Establish the balance of full and part-time resources to be involved in improvement. Establish fully trained and experienced coach and mentors to provide support. The second, set up initial project. They must be clearly linked to business and customer priorities and to closing the gaps identified in the early analysis. Ensure that they are also in line with staff, issue to further cement the idea that this is something that staff can own and influence. The third, identify and train staff. Avoid a deep approach to training all staff. This is never effective and absorbs large amount of resource. Train just immediately in project and use who might be effective by them to an appropriate degree. Train on just-in-time basis so that skills are used very soon after they are trained. The fourth, generate quick wins. Although project may be systemic and long-term, in nature try to find quick, highly visible improvement which can establish the potential and usefulness of the overall project. Publicize these quick wins. The 5. Review project. Make sure that progress is reviewed regularly, encourage reflection and self-assessment in the project teams, and place emphasis on honest reporting rather than meeting goals. This is important at all times, but more so in the early phases when we are lean about the deployment and need to ensure the correct approach is being taken. Encourage double loop lean where governing ideas as well as process are challenged. The 6. Celebrate success lean from project. On successful conclusion, it is important to recognize the effort of those involved and publicize not only the benefits but also the things that have been learned. And the last, diagnose the organization and conduct a gap. On project completion, it is important to update the higher level and reassess our priorities newly for the next set of improvement activities.
2. Tools to transform. There are many books on tools and techniques to support quality. They are of course extremely important and are dealt with in some detail in the companion book to this on bookbound.com. 6 Sigma Principle and Practice. Communicate, review, diagnose, and revitalize. Communicate the success and the learning from this project as widely as possible and as effectively as can be achieved. Review not only the success of the individual projects, but as the overall initiative. Again, you need to consider not just the actual results, but also perception. If the initiative is not at the front of people's minds, or worse, has a bad reputation, this can serve as a leading indicator of reduced results to come and is even more important than actual results in predicting the sustainability of the system.
Okay, I will expand critical success factor. There are innumerable texts on the factor which lead to success in deploying quality management, and consensus is pretty widespread. The following are a summary. Critical success factor. Senior management commitment. The most important success factor from almost all the research. Strategy alignment and customer focus. This allows for the organization to drive maximum benefit from improvement activities by ensuring they are working on the things that matter most. Widespread engagement. But simply, the more people actively working on this, the better. Okay, next, good infrastructure and support. Essentially, research needs to be available in the right place, time and quality that allow for effective execution. This include people, money, training, and expertise. Learning. The whole system needs to focus on guaranteeing continual learning as well as continual improvement. Okay, next, good measurement and recognition system. To establish success, we need to measure, to maintain commitment, we need to recognize our end results. Note that recognition does not have to be monetary. Communication is the lifeblood of any quality management system. Effective to wide dialogue allows the organization to evolve priorities to be reversed and addressed.
That's all our presentations. Huge thanks for attention. Thank you for watching and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. See you in the next video.